chooses people.
Good morning. You're watching the F&O Show on Bloomberg Quint Live, India's first digital live streaming business news service. I'm Navneet Saluja D'Souza.
Good morning. I'm Agam Akil, and here are the top headlines of this hour. The Nifty comes off after touching a fresh high at opening. India Wix surges sharply ahead of expiry later this week. And open interest in Ambuja Cement and ONGC surges as traders take fresh positions in their respective futures. GAIL is among the top Nifty gainer after IOC BPCL show interest in acquiring government stake. And Vijay Rupani is all set to take oath as Gujarat Chief Minister for the second time in a grand function in Gandhinagar.
All right, let's take a look as to what's happening in the market right now, especially in the futures and options market. In fact, we had an opening on Nifty at all-time high levels. Sensex 2 touched the mark of 34,000, but from all-time high levels of 10,550, Nifty has retreated a bit of about 15 points from those levels. Premium currently on the futures is about 11 points, which are firmly trading above the mark of 10,500. Well, this is the expiry week, and the momentum definitely continues to be on the upside. So what's the kind of range that the traders can expect in this expiry week? The base for this market has been moving higher. So a closing support, the first support for Nifty is at about 10,200, and the range that one can expect is between the 10,200 to about 10,500. A closing above the 10,500 mark would indicate further highs for Nifty, and that we'll be checking out with the experts. What sort of range can one expect on the upside going ahead? If you could just pull up the India Volatility Index at the opening session only, we did see the India Wix surging up almost 4.5%, trading above the mark of 12 right now. So do watch out for that closing above the 10,500. Let's see if we can see those levels in today's session or not. In terms of option strike, the action has been seen on the 10,400 and the 10,500 put strikes. Both these strikes have seen open interest addition so far. On the call side, you've got 10,500, 10,515, as well as 10,600. Actually, I was checking, that too has seen good amount of open interest addition. What are the institutions doing then? This is the expiry week, but still expect some low volumes as this is the holiday season. And also FIIs, in terms of Friday's session, they did create a bit of short positions in the index future side, but hedging was seen by creating some long positions on the options side. But what about the stock futures, Agam?
Well, big moves when it comes to Pidilite, Navneet. We're looking at near 16-17% increase in open interest, with the stock also advancing by as much as 2%. And that's followed by Yes Bank. While the underlying is making marginal gains of around less than 0.5%, we've seen 13% increase in open interest. Sun TV, Jet Airways and ONGC among other counters which have advanced and looking at fresh long positions building in expiry week. In terms of unwinding, we're looking at Allahabad Bank, which has declined by as much as 2% with a 7% decline in open interest. So longs unwinding there. And we saw a lot of strength on Mindtree last Friday, and today the stock's down 1%. So we're looking at a lot of traders taking profits, considering its open interest is also down by as much as 2.3%, and some unwinding coming along in Engineers India, Reliance Naval and Reliance Power. I'll be watching out for Pidilite and what that does, Navneet. We may see a little bit of unwinding perhaps towards the end of the session, considering we've seen so much strength in the stock today.
That's right. And moving ahead, before we get our guest on the show, here's a reminder for you all. If you have any queries in the futures and options market, you can call us right now on 022-454-0411. And also you can write to us on our social media platforms on Twitter, Facebook with AskBQ hashtag. Let's welcome our F&O experts for the day then. Nirav Chheda of Nirmal Securities and Ashish Chaturmohta of Sanctum Wealth Securities joins us on the show now. Good morning to both of you and season's greetings to both of you, and thanks very much for joining us today on Bloomberg Wind. Ashish, I'd like to come to you first. You've been bullish in the market and you said once the Nifty touches the 10,500 mark, we could see those levels of 10,700 and 800. I was also looking at the data for the December series. Nifty's outperformed Bank Nifty, where Nifty is up almost 2.5%. Bank Nifty is only up about 1%. What can one expect now in this expiry week?
Good morning, Navneet. So I think trend is going to continue in the same direction. I think the contributors in Nifty index are showing much better strength rather than stocks which are in the Bank Nifty. So I think clearly Nifty is going to outperform Bank Nifty because we are seeing a good amount of strength in sectors like capital goods, in IT, in pharma, in FMCG as a basket. So I think clearly there we are seeing a clear strong uptrend coming in, and a strong build up of position is happening. So I think that is going to see a stronger move at an Nifty index level. And since now we are hovering around its all-time high in Nifty, although we are in a holiday season, but since we are trading around 10,500 mark, and that is going to create a lot of pressure on call writers, because if you look at the maximum call writing concentration, it is around 10,500 levels. So if we sustain this 10,500 in first hour of trading sessions, I think we are going to see a move towards 10,600, 620 before this expiry, and in first week of January, I think we are going to hit levels around 10,700 zone. So I think clearly the trend is on the upside, and now on downside 10,400, 380 will act as a very, very strong support for the markets.
Good morning, Nirav. How about you? How are you viewing the trade as far as expiry for this week's concerned?
Yeah. See, last week also I mentioned I was also very bullish on the Nifty. I also do believe that Nifty should come towards 10,600, 650 for this expiry. The reason being the PCR has actually shot up to 1.5859 levels. VIX has come down to 12 levels, which is comfortable. Again, call unwinding at 10,400, 500 and 600 strikes is very, very good. So I believe that there is a good chance that Nifty can break out above the 10,500 levels if it sustains for a day or two. Again, on the technical front also, 10,320 was a very important level. There has been a flag breakout, so that has also been a very, very good sign for Nifty. So the likely target for the same comes to around 10,690 odd. So 10,690, 10,700 is what I believe should come again.
Okay, so that's the view going on Nifty as well as Bank Nifty. But what are our experts advocating in this expiry week? Let's shift our focus to Options Corner now. Ashish, what's the strategy going ahead in this expiry week on Nifty or on Bank Nifty?
Yeah. So first, I would like to come on the strategy which we had recommended last time. It was a 10,300 call long and shorting 10,600 call, which was a bull call spread we created at a cost of 95. That spread has doubled and now it's around 200 odd levels. So one can look for booking profits in that spread. Going forward, I think for this expiry, I would like to give a call as an expiry call. One can initiate a long in 10,500 call option, which is at the money call option, which is available at around 42, 43 levels. Keep it till expiry. Keep a stop around 28 levels. And I think this option, this strike has a potential to go till 75, 80 as a premium. So I think that could be the target till expiry in 10,500 call option.
Well, incidentally, Nirav also has the same strategy. So, Nirav, why don't you take us through, your targets and stop losses, and also perhaps the reason why you have given the call?
Yeah, the reason I had mentioned already earlier, but incidentally, I also have a target of about 75 to 80. I also believe that at least 75, 80 level should come before expiry. So one should be buying this call. It is at reasonable levels. You can keep a stop loss of 20, which is very good support for this option. I do believe 75, 80 should be coming probably tomorrow or day after.
Okay, so that's great news. Both our experts have the same strategy when it comes to the options corner. That's the 10,500 call strike of Nifty. Let's shift focus and also look at the buzzing stock futures in today's trading session. And 3 stocks came out of the F&O ban for today's trading. One of them is Jet Airways. Let's just pull up the futures of that because we've seen good move coming on the underlying today. Jet Airways is up almost closer to 4% and just 45 to 50 minutes of trade and open interest build-up of 10% for the December futures. Ashish, do you see any fresh trade on Jet Airways?
Yeah, definitely. I think there's something big in the stock because during during the period it was in a ban period, we were seeing a considerable price up move, and clearly a lot of short covering happened in the stock. And now when it came out of ban, we are seeing almost 10% gain in open interest with prices shooting up towards 790 zone. Clearly, I think a move towards 900 looks very much possible in Jet Airways. I think on downside now 770, 765 will be a very strong support zone. So one can initiate a long at current levels, use any dip towards 775 to average positions. Keep 770 as a stop loss, and upside immediate target could be around 840, 850. But positionally, I think 900 could be the target in next 2-3 weeks in Jet Airways.
All right, so an upside, perhaps potential upside for Jet Airways. But let's take a look at what's happening in ONGC. I want to pull that up because what we're looking at is, the underlying's up as much as nearly 1.5% right now. But the open interest has surged by as much as 7.3%. Of course, there's a lot of underlying news with respect to, the possibilities of acquisition GAIL, and you have the oil and marketing companies in fray for a stake in the company. But ONGC isn't too far behind in terms of speculation. That said, if you keep the fundamentals aside, if you keep the news aside, what are the underlying technicals telling you? What is the underlying factors which represent futures and options telling you? Nirav, what's your call on ONGC currently at these levels?
Yeah, if you remember last week also, I think we had talked about GAIL and ONGC. I had said there was good open interest built up in both the stocks. While ONGC, I do believe that it can come up towards 205 to 110 levels, which is a resistance area. Open interest built up at 180, 185 levels was pretty huge. So I believe that at least 210 should be your target. One should be buying even at current levels. You can keep a stop loss of 182 and continue to hold this counter.
Okay, so that's a positive call on ONGC. Remember, it was your top gainer on Nifty in Friday's trade. But let's also address some viewer queries. And our first queries actually come on ONGC itself. Amol Wag on YouTube, who seems to be our regular viewer, he's got ONGC 195 call strike at a premium of 1.3. He's asking, should he hold on till the expiry week maybe, or he should book profits today? So 1.3 is the level where he entered. And currently, Ashish, I'm just checking the premium of the 195 call strike. It's about 2.6, a lot size of almost 3750. So he's making good money. Would you advise Amol to book profits?
No, I think he should continue riding the trend. Clearly looking very strong. Seeing a build-up of almost 7.5%. In terms of technical, it has given a breakout above 195, which was a strong resistance zone. So I think a move towards 200, 202 looks very much possible before expiry. So I think this option premium can move towards 5.5 levels in next 1 to 2 trading sessions.
Okay, our next query is from Girish Kumar, and he actually has a query on 2. So he has KPIT Technologies at 167 and Tata Elxsi at 965. Both of them are December futures. So let me take KPIT with Nirav, and I'll go to Tata Elxsi with Ashish because he has been, recommending Tata Elxsi for a while. Nirav, I'll come to you on KPIT Technologies. His entry point is 167. Let's take a look at what KPIT Technologies is doing currently at 171. So he's making a profit of 4 points as of now. The stock is down by as much as 1%. There's an increase of 3.5% increase in OI. So some amount of shorts building in there. Nirav, what can Girish do with his position in KPIT Technologies?
Yeah, I think he should be booking profits. So the reason being 175 level is a very strong resistance, and from there it has come down. And there are the chart also shows that it is going to come down towards around 160 162 odd levels, which is a good support area. Now he has bought at 167 levels, so if he can hold up to 160 odd levels, then he should be holding on. Either way, I do believe that 171 is getting 5 rupees profit. He should be booking and buy again around 180 levels. Once the breakout comes above 180 levels, you can see the levels of at least 195 200 on this stock. See, mind you, the open interest around 140 120 range was huge, and I'm seeing a little bit of profit booking around 175 180 levels, so you should be exiting.
All right, so you should be exiting your level when it comes to KPRT Technologies. Book your profits for now and maybe seek lower levels moving in. And let's go to the second query that is on Tata Elxsi. Now, his entry point is 965 currently. It's currently trading at around 953 or 954, the December futures. Ashish, what can he do with his position right now?
So you should continue riding the trend. It's on a very strong uptrend. It's just consolidating for a while before taking a stronger uptick. So maybe 940 should be kept as a trading stop loss for holding on to the long position. I think the stock has a potential to cross 4-digit, and you might see 1010 levels in next couple of trading sessions. So one should continue holding on to the position, and if it doesn't happen in this expiry, this should be carried forward to the next series as well.
Right.
Okay, so positive view on Tata Elxsi. Ashish recommends if you do not get a good exit level in this series, you can also look to roll over your position for the January series. Nitesh Chen on Facebook writes to us, he's asking at this level, can one take a position on HDFC Bank January futures? Nirav, what's the view on HDFC Bank? Can one look to take any fresh position on January futures?
Yeah. See, HDFC Bank every month on month has seen good OI built up. There has been buying every month on month, about 3 or 4% it is up. So I do believe even for the next month, the January futures, it will be up. There is a resistance of about 1882 on this stock. So 1882 is a strong resistance. Once that crosses, you can probably buy, not at current levels. So wait for that breakout of 1882, and then you will see huge buying again coming in. I believe 1950 and 2000 levels are a strong resistance for this counter. So that is where one should be booking profits. Probably not in January, but if you have to roll it over to February, you will get levels of 1950.
All right, let's move on to the next query then. This one is from another one of our regulars, Arbind Panda, and he asks, is it advisable to buy Indiabulls Housing Finance January futures at current levels? Let's take a look at Indiabulls Housing Finance futures. It's currently trading at 1200. There is a surge in open interest of as much as 17%, even though the underlying is absolutely flat. Ashish, what can be done? Can Arbind buy these or short for that matter?
So it's in a very sideways, consolidation. However, after seeing, some correction from 1400 odd levels to almost 1200, it is seeing some stability coming in. But definitely in terms of price action, it will start once it crosses 1220 zone. So if he really wants to play a momentum play, then I think ideally you should buy about 1220 with a stop below 1190, and on upside at that point of time he can see for a target of 1260, 1270. But at these levels, though the risk reward is very favorable, but the stock is missing a price action. So I think a momentum player should avoid going long at these levels.
Okay, so avoid going long on Indiabulls Housing. Let's just take one more query. Rinki Keval Ramani writes to us on YouTube. Rinki is asking to advise on Nifty 10,400 put strike, and well, that strike has seen addition of almost 4.2 lakh shares so far in open interest, and the premium is around 14 to 15 rupees. It's dropped by almost 6 to 7 rupees. Considering this is the expiry week, you will see contraction in premium as the time value of these strikes nears zero. Ashish, I don't know if she's not mentioned whether she's taken any position, but what should one do if they've bought a 10,400 put strike? Should they exit now, or they should wait till the expiry?
So as you know, my view is on the positive side. Until it doesn't break 10,400, I would not like to initiate a long in the put side. So I think if she is holding on to the position, she should keep stop around 10,520, because once we see a move beyond 10,520, that can trigger a lot of short covering in the market, and you might see the put option premium coming down significantly. So once Nifty crosses 10,520, that's an area where she should be looking for an exit in this put option.
All right, let's move on to a caller then. And well, the first caller is Sagar Arora, and he calls us from Mumbai. Hi, Sagar, if you can hear us, thanks for calling in. Tell us, what would you like to know from our experts?
Hi, I invested in Mindtree at around 6 months ago, and it's given me some pretty decent returns now, around 25%. So I wanted to know whether is there scope for further upside, or should I book profits completely or partially?
Okay, Sagar, so I'm assuming that you have rolled over Mindtree over the last 6 expiries. Do you have your entry point?
No, not really. I invested it in around June, so if I'm not wrong.
All right. So, Ashish, I'll take the query over to you. What can he do with Mindtree at current levels?
No, looks pretty strong, and I think he should continue riding the trend. Stock has the potential to cross 640, 650 levels in next 1 to 2 months. If he's holding on to the position, I think he should keep 565 as a trailing stop loss and continue riding the trend.
Okay, that's the view on Mindtree. The stock has touched its fresh 52-week high in today's trade, but from those levels, there seems to be some bit of profit booking, which has come in as the underlying currently trades with cuts of 1%. Girish Kumar also wants to know, Ashish, what are your top trading strategies? But you'll have to wait for 2 minutes for that. I want to discuss Fortis Healthcare. That stock is in the F&O ban. Just pull up that it's gone up on very high volumes in the cash side. Till now, almost 50 lakh shares have been traded on National Stock Exchange. Compare that to Friday's trading volume of almost closer to 53 lakh shares. So some bit of cash-based buying has been seen in this counter, and because the futures are into the ban, so one cannot take a fresh position here. But Nirav, I'll come to you on the charts. How is Fortis Healthcare looking?
See, very difficult to say here, but one thing I'll just tell you is there is a double bottom kind of a formation in this, which is a very positive for the stock. However, the confirmation for the same will come only above 160 levels. So one should wait for 160 levels. However, if 160 is broken, you can see the stock doubling also from here on. So above 160, one can buy aggressively, at least for a first target of 220. I do believe that it can go up towards 300 also after that.
All right, so that's the view on Fortis Healthcare. Before we can take more queries, let's get in views from our experts, because as a matter of fact, not only Girish Kumar, but we have another viewer, Lalita Jain, who also wants to know what positions can be taken, perhaps for the January series as well. So Nirav, I'll come back to you. What are you recommending for our audiences as we move into, say, the next week or the next couple of weeks?
Yeah, the first one is State Bank of India. I like the stock from the banking space. The banking space as a whole isn't doing very well, but the PSU space, you are seeing good open interest built up in SBI, Bank of Baroda, PNB level stocks. So I believe SBI from current levels is a good buy. It has made a very good formation in the last week. I believe it can come up towards 330, 340 levels. So one should be buying with a stop loss of 308. The second one is a buy on MFSL, Max Financial. From 530, 540 levels, there has been some very good buying in this counter. Good open interest built up in the last week. I believe it can go up towards 630, 640 levels again. So one can be buying with a stop loss of 573.
Okay, so those are the top 2 trading strategies from Nirav. Nirav, just want to confirm, this is for December or January futures?
January.
Okay. Ashish, over to you. What are your top trading strategies?
So my first pick would be a long idea on Bharat Electronics. Looks very, very interesting. It has consolidated for almost last 6 to 8 weeks near its all-time high, and now poised for a very stronger move. I think a move till 205, 210 levels could be seen in Bharat Electronics. Initiate a long with a stop below 186, and upside can look for a target towards 205, 210. ONGC looks quite interesting. I think 7.5% open interest addition with a very strong gap up opening today. So I think initiate a long with a stop below 192 on upside. 205, 210 could be the target. And as we discussed in the morning, Jet Airways is one stock which is looking very strong. One can initiate a long with a stop below 770 on upside. 840, 850 could be the immediate target, and positionally 900 could be the levels which we could witness in Jet Airways in next 3 to 4 weeks.
All right, some interesting calls coming in there. Before we wrap, I'm not sure. I think we have time to take a few more queries coming in. So let's address one. We have Raghav Nahada, who is short on Indigo December futures at 1165, and he wants to know what can be done with this position. Let's take a look at the Indigo December futures. It's currently trading at 1211, so he is looking at a potential loss. In fact, Indigo is up 2.4% even in today's day of trade. The open interest has only surged, so well, he's in a bit of a pickle. Well, Nirav, if I can come to you on this one, what can Raghav do with his position right now, considering he's looking at a potential loss? Should he roll over his position?
Looking at the structure, you should be exiting the stock on the short side. In fact, you can be buying this stock. It has witnessed a breakout above 1185 levels. I believe it can go up towards 1300 odd levels. So he can in fact turn a buyer and make good money there.
Okay, that's the view on Interglobe. The stock in the last 3 months is up almost 16%. I think the reason for shorting Agam would be that because of the crude oil prices, which have been inching higher. And a lot of the analysts expect it to touch the mark of $18 per barrel. So that could be the reason. But there's no stopping for stocks like Indigo or Jet Airways, which is Ashish's one of the top picks for today's trade. Well, with that, it's a wrap on this edition of the F&O Show. Thanks very much for watching. But I would also like to thank both our guests, Ashish and Nirav. Thanks a lot for joining us today and taking us through your calls in the futures and options market.